Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about Scream 2, which came out in 1997, so a whole year after the first movie came out. It stars, of course, Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jamie Kennedy, Jerry O'Connell, Jada Pinkett, or it just says Jada Pinkett on here, Liev Schreiber, and I know Omar Epps is in this one too, but for some reason he's not on here. And, okay, so this one takes place, I guess, a year or two, I don't really say, because I'm guessing Sydney was a senior in the first movie. So I'll say a year or two after the events of the first movie, and Sydney's now in college. And a whole another batch of murders start happening, and it gets connected back to Sydney somehow. And the killer is using the same MO as the killer in the first movie, but this time they're basing it off of horror sequels. And basically that is the plot of this movie. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this 2 and 3 are the ones in the franchise I do not like. I guess they're not bad movies, in my opinion, they're just kind of meh movies, if you know what I mean. With this one, I can kind of tell it was rushed into production. I don't know, the humor just didn't work that well for me, and a lot of the set pieces and action scenes, I mean, a lot of the plot lines just didn't make any sense either. But, anyways, I guess I'll get into acting. Neve Campbell is better, or if she plays Sydney. I thought she was better written, or she was good in the first movie, her character was, but in this one they developed her a little bit better too, where she's more of a fighter and a survivor, and she does not take shit from anyone. And I like that, and I like her character because she actually progresses throughout all the movies. David Arquette's character, he plays Dewey. He's still the bumbling, stupid kind of cop, and yeah. Courtney Cox, who plays Gail Weathers, she's still kind of the bitchy, narcissistic journalist, and those are like the two characters I know. The two characters I don't like in this franchise, really. And Jamie Kennedy, who plays Randy, he is still the nerdy guy who's still trying to go after Sydney, and he's still obsessed with horror movies. But unfortunately, they do kill him off in this one, which I didn't like. And especially in part 3, when, I guess I'll get into that when I get to that one. I'm kind of jumping ahead. Liev Schreiber, he plays a character called Cotton Weary, who Sydney framed as, well, she didn't know, she thought it was him. So I guess she did kind of frame him, as she framed him by accident in the first movie for being her mother's killer, when in fact it was Billy and Stu. And this time he's out and he's on a book tour, and I thought Liev Schreiber, he did a decent job. He's not in the movie that much, but he did a decent job playing the person that was falsely accused of a crime, and now well, I can understand, he's trying to make money off of it. So, who else is in? There's not really, Timothy Olyphant, I forgot about him. Timothy Olyphant is kind of like the Randy 2 in this one. He is obsessed with movies as well, and I'm gonna spoil it, he's one of the killers in this movie, and he is the one that harps on sequels, and so, rewatching the movie, I could kind of tell, like, it was gonna be him, since he kept referencing sequels a lot. So, but anyways, I thought he did a pretty good job, even though it did kind of feel tacked on that they were trying to find a killer and they didn't know who to choose, so they just went with him. But anyways, so some of the things I do like about this movie is the opening scene at the movie theater. And I know someone was saying, "Oh, that's not realistic. There's never been an opening that was that crazy." I mean, I've been to movie openings, opening night, that have been crazy. I know it's not on this level, but there has been some crazy ones I went to. And one of them was the Friday the 13th remake when I saw that on opening night and dragged me to hell. And I think that was like the craziest one I went to. I mean, there was a girl puking, like she was puking and running up the aisle out the door. And people were drunk and just going crazy and stuff. So it is somewhat realistic. Like, yeah, I don't know, cause this was pre 9/11 and, you know, before the Aurora shooting happened in the movie theater. So, I mean, I think after that, I don't know, cause I don't remember the 90s that well. I was born in the 90s, but I don't remember it that well. So I don't know if they did allow people to dress up in costumes and have like fake, you know, swords and stuff like that. I think when the Phantom Menace premieres, I think I remember seeing footage of people wearing the costumes for that movie and had the lightsabers and stuff, but like nowadays you can't do that. So, I mean, I know I'm kind of going off a tangent, but looking back in the 90s, that was a different decade, different time period, so it was probably different back then. So, I did like the opening, and I know, because every time I watch Scream and Scream 2, I always think about Scary Movie, because they parodied both of those movies in Scary Movie. So every time the theater scene happens, I always think about that one. But I like how when they kill when Jada Pinkett is getting killed by Ghostface, a lot of people in the theater think it's fake and it's part of the theatrics of the production of the movie of the theater. And I thought that was a good opening. And the other scenes I like was when Randy is in film class and they're talking about sequels and Randy's saying like, well, the originals are always better, the sequels suck, and then they're going through like different sequels and they're saying like Aliens and The Godfather Part 2 and what was the other one? They said something else. Shoot, I forgot. But they were naming like a bunch of sequels that were better than the original. But the one thing I didn't get was that one of the characters, he says, aliens, you know, that one of the best lines is, Sigourney Weaver when she says, "Get away from her, you bitch." And then Randy says, I believe the line is, "Stay away from her, you bitch." And I looked it up, and it is "Get away from her, you bitch." And I don't understand why, if Randy's a movie buff, why he would say that, but okay, that was kind of weird. But, oh, Terminator 2, they said that was one of the other sequels. And then, the other scene I liked was when Randy is talking to Dewey about, the rules of a sequel. You know, the body count has to be higher, more character, a lead character from the other movie dies unexpectedly, which would be Randy in this one. Or I guess a main character from the previous movie dies unexpectedly, like I said, Randy. And, what was the other one? Oh, yeah, bigger body count, and more, I think there's something about a motive, like a different kind of motive. But, yeah, I like that scene. And the little spoof they show of the Stab movie, where they're recreating, it's like Luke Wilson and Tori Spelling, and they're recreating the scene from the first Scream where, Skeet Ulrich and, well, it's Sydney and, Billy are talking in the in the school, and she's talking about, he's telling her, like, why don't you forget about your mom? She's dead. You need to move on. And they recreated that scene, and it was pretty funny, like, how they did it, like, cause it was, like, very overdramatic and stuff in the reenactment. The other scene I liked was when Gale Weathers is running through, like, the, soundproof rooms, trying to get away from Ghostface. And, Dewey's in one of the rooms, and he's getting, Ghostface is behind him, and she's trying to tell him, like, Dewey, get away, turn around, get away. And then she ends up getting stabbed. And, yeah. And I thought that scene was pretty good and intense. Well, the ending with a reveal of the killers. Like I said, I could kind of tell Timothy Olyphant might have been one of the killers on rewatch, but it still kind of felt like he was just forced in there. And his motive is different. He wants to blame violent movies for why he killed people, and he wants a big trial and going to get a book deal and stuff like that, so he can get famous. And then and then we have Mrs. Loomis, which she came out of nowhere too. She's just like one of the reporters walking around harassing Gale Weathers. But it's actually Billy's mom, and of course she wants revenge because of what happened with her husband and Billy, and yeah. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. Like, when I was rewatching the movie, I did not pick up that she was going to be the killer, one of the killers in this. And I don't know, it just didn't seem like it didn't seem like they were trying, it didn't seem like they had in mind who the killer was going to be, or killers in this case. And it just felt kind of tacked on. And I don't know, it seems like the movie drags in some areas, especially, I don't care, I know it's going to sound mean, but the love interest with Sydney's character with Jerry O'Connell, or Sydney's love interest with the Jerry O'Connell character, I thought that was very boring and just dragged the movie down. There's not a lot of anything else to say about this. Like, the kills are not that creative. They're not creative in this one. It's just stabbings and stuff. The only kills that really stand out to me is the Randy kill, because he's a main character. And also the Sarah Michelle Gellar kill, because she gets stabbed and thrown off a balcony. Oh yeah, then there's like the sorority I forgot to mention. There was like this sorority of girls that were going around. I don't know what the hell their purpose was, but they were trying to be friends with Sydney. But they weren't like mean girls or anything. They were just kind of weird, and I didn't really see what the point was with that, because it didn't go anywhere. And I think one of the girls in the sorority, I think she played the killer in Urban Legend. So I don't know if Kevin Williamson wrote Urban Legend. I think he did. I know he did. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I think that's why Sarah Michelle Gellar was in this one. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. It's just one of those movies where I'm just kind of like, it's just like, meh. It's just there. Like, it's not bad, but it's not good, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that like this movie, but it's just kind of like there, in middle of the road movie for me. Like I said, I've never been a huge fan of this franchise. But anyways, I guess that's my review of Scream 2.